Detective.
After this, I'm gone.
Detective. No big surprise.
Detective!
You're looking for me.
Hey! What's your fucking move?
If you think Kevin Spacey's great in this movie, I only have one thing to say to you. Me too. This is spoilers.
That was a pretty good one.
That was pretty good.
I liked it.
Divisive.
It's 2019, so.
Half of the population just clicked right off.
All right, well, hey.
Just the females, though.
So 90% of our listeners are still on board. That's good.
Yeah, we're good. We're good. Six dudes on this pod. Well, 5. All right, so this is spoilers. We are reviewing the Christopher Plummer classic, Seven.
Do you like what you do for a living? These things you see?
You have to wear blinders sometimes. Most times.
Detective William Somerset is looking for a way out.
You're retiring. 6 more days and you're all the way gone.
So how long have you lived here?
Too long.
Detective David Mills is looking for a way in.
We'll be spending every waking hour together from now until the time I leave. I'll show you who your friends and enemies are.
Look, I've worked homicide for 5 years. Not here.
Now,
Ladies and gentlemen, we have ourselves a homicide.
they're caught in a game.
No fingerprints and no witnesses of any kind.
Nope. About the only thing we know about that guy right now is he's totally insane.
Where the price of sin is death.
There are 7 deadly sins. Gluttony,
You're going to come take a look at this?
greed,
No one touches anything.
sloth, wrath, pride, lust, and envy. 7. You can expect 5 more of these.
Body was found on Tuesday morning.
I hate this city.
We're gonna get who did this.
This will be the very definition of swift justice.
There are 2 more bodies, 2 more victims.
This guy's methodical, exacting, and worst of all, patient.
He's laughing at us.
He had a gun.
He's 2 murders away from completing his masterpiece.
Hey!
Let's finish it.
Brad Pitt, Morgan Freeman, Gwyneth Paltrow.
Have you ever seen anything like this?
No.
7.
It is great movie, maybe. We'll see. This is Brett Kelly, recording from Fort Wayne. Dang it, I said my name. Bleep that out.
Self-docs.
I am I am unraveling right now. I'm sorry. So why don't we go from, let's say, least to west and start with whoever's the most east, and tell us where you're recording from, and tell us your 2 favorite Brad Pitt movies, since we always try to sneak a second one in. So, Josh?
I think that is me.
Okay.
I love 7 almost as much as I loved 1 through 6. So this is.
Hey now.
Oh, I love corny jokes. I love that.
I remember Legends of the Fall being a big one for me when I was little.
My mom loves that.
Man, Fight Club was my jam for a long time. That's definitely one of them. So, I don't know, Snatch and Fight Club maybe, I would say.
So Josh finds a way to get 4 movies in.
Sprinkling a little bit of Meet Joe Black, and yeah, I'm good.
God. I like most of his movies. So
and Mighty Joe Young. Yep.
I know at least one of Stevie's, so let's go ahead and go to Stevie.
Hey there, this is Stevie recording from Elkhart, Indiana. And let's see, one of them's Inglourious Bastards. I absolutely love that movie.
Good call.
And the other Brad Pitt movie, God. Movie or performance, Brett?
You know what? Have fun with it.
You like him on Friends or what?
You know
I love him on Friends.
I mean,
he's so good.
I say Snatch. His turn as Mickey is brilliant. So, Snatch and Bastards.
You're gonna take a shite. Mikey?
Yeah, Mikey recording from Goshen, Indiana. I like pretty much all Brad Pitt movies, but
really good.
I really like him in the Ocean series. I know that's 3 movies, but I just think he's really good in those. He's the cool guy in Ocean, so...
Which? Oh, Ocean, yeah.
Yeah, I like those movies. I like him in that.
Oh, yeah. Cool. Did you only say one, or did you say... What was
I just said the
all of them?
series. Yeah, the Oceans,
All right.
yeah.
Pappy?
I'm looking at Letterboxd now. It says he's in Being John Malkovich. Is that true?
I've never seen it, but...
I don't remember him being in that. I'll say that. And Inglourious
great
Basterds.
performance. I don't remember a
He apparently
second of
plays
it.
himself, uncredited, so...
I don't remember him being in that at all, but I love that fucking movie when I saw it. So, and
Yeah.
Pappy, Denver.
All right, this, like I said, this is Brad. I'm going to break my own rules. I'm going to say Snatch, Ocean's 11, and The Big Short are probably my 3 favorites.
Ooh, that's a good one. You just saw it for the first time recently, didn't you?
Yeah, probably about 4 or 5 months ago, but yeah, I loved it a lot.
What do you guys think about the upcoming film? It's not out yet at the time of recording, but this Tarantino flick, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Cannot wait.
Looks good, man.
Bring a little love in.
Yeah.
Looks creepy, but not maybe it doesn't look creepy, but like we know what's probably going to happen at the end, so that's pretty creepy. What do you think, Josh? You looking forward to it or what?
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to it. Sorry, I didn't mean to derail your pod. I feel bad.
I don't agree with your hypothesis, but
What's my hypothesis?
I don't know. That's what Quentin Tarantino said to that reporter who asked him a question about being sexist or whatever.
Man, I don't even have an opinion. That's what Marvin said.
All right. Well, before it gets even more off the rails, let's go ahead and start. I know I say this all the time when I do pods, but I'm going to try to do it differently. I'm going to need you guys' help a lot, but I'm going to break it up into little sections, 7 or 8. So I'm going to give a little bit of background information. I'd say there's 2 main characters in this movie. William Somerset, which is played by Morgan Freeman. He's a detective lieutenant. He's retiring in 7 days. Super smart. He's not. I got the
7.
Yep.
7. Yeah.
I got the opinion that he's not super popular among his colleagues. I don't know if it's because he's too smart or he's a recluse or whatever. But and then the other main character is David Mills, who's played by Brad Pitt. He's a detective. He's brand new to this particular precinct. He's a hothead. He seems to want to prove himself in the big city and do some real good in the world or whatever. And side character is Tracy Mills, played by Gwyneth Paltrow.
Pepper
She
Potts.
is David Mills, a.k.a. Brad Pitt's wife. And this stuff doesn't really bother me, but I thought it was kind of funny that they're high school sweethearts. Okay, she was like 22, 23 in this movie, and he was 32. So I would say they're trying to age him down, but he had said he did like 5 years on homicide and like a bunch of years on the beats of the street. So they're like trying to age her up, which I thought was really weird. But
she is so cute in this movie that you almost forget how much of a raging asshat she is
in real life.
Yeah.
The CEO and co-founder of Goop.
She's adorable in this film.
She is. She's young, dumb, and full of Brad Pitt.
What? No, it's a well-acted performance.
Speaking of, John C. McGinley is also in this movie. He plays John C. McGinley. So I'm going to break this. He's Dr. Cox. Come on, he's classic. So I kind of have this broken down into, I kind of try to skip a lot of the little mini stuff that I don't think is super important. Like the first thing I just kind of want to talk about.
How many segments are you breaking this up into?
7.
Well,
7?
7 is going to have then a bunch of
because you said 7 or 8, and I was like, it better be 7.
No, it's 7 with a couple little mini interludes in between. But the first one's Gluttony.
SE7VN.
Does Josh, you just watched this movie, so do you feel comfortable kind of getting us started on Gluttony and how that's set up and
Yeah, because this is probably the one
that I remember the most as a kid.
This is one of the top 5 of these that scarred me the most.
Yeah.
Pretty high batting percentage on these.
Yeah, for sure.
Our bad guy sneaks into this really obese guy's house, force feeds him a bunch of tomato sauce to the point where like his gun has made like indentations in this dude's head, and he's got him chained to his chair in the meantime. And like after 12 hours, I think, of force feeding him, the guy passes out and he like kicks him in the stomach, and his stomach blows up inside of him. And it's I was watching this in my lunch break, eating some like Arby's mozzarella sticks.
Yeah,
and it was.
We were eating meatloaf last night, and I could not eat. We had spaghetti tonight. I'm glad we didn't have that last night.
Yeah, like Arby's. Yeah, mozzarella stick, a little juicy, kind of comes out, and then it's like this.
Out, yep.
And then you see this guy's ankle. Oh man.
They also kind of make a point, I believe, to say, I don't remember when he ran. Again, you don't know who the killer is. That's one of the, I think, the best parts of this movie is it's super subtle. They're not shoving anything down your throat.
You don't even know
like
if it's
they
a
were to
killer.
this guy. Right, yeah, like, they get called, but like Brad Pitt actually says in the movie, who said this was murder? And Somerset says no one. So, yeah, but then I don't know how they eventually didn't get it because he was tied to the chair. But yeah, the scene with the puke under the table is really gross, and they actually make a point to say the killer maybe left in the middle of this torture to go to the store. And what did he buy? More pasta?
Dude, I think that's because the guy ate more than he expected.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Gross.
Yeah. So did they find the note here? No, they find the note later. So we're not going to get into like they split up at some point, but Somerset comes back. Pappy, do you want to describe when he comes back to the house by himself what he finds?
Yeah, so in the autopsy, they found some like shavings on the floor, and Somerset goes back to the apartment, and he realizes those came from the legs of the refrigerator scraping the ground. So he moved the refrigerator back or something, or put the scrapes back in place and moved the refrigerator over him, and he sees the gluttony painted on the wall.
Yeah, and there's also a note there that it's from Paradise Lost by John Milton, which I think was written in the 1500s or 1600s. The quote is, "Long is the way and hard that out of hell leads up to light." So that's definitely like a fallen angel reference. That's what that book's about. So I don't know where that, I think that comes up later, but so yeah,
are all these things supposed to be like actual clues at the end, or are they just kind of creepy, do you think?
I think he uses this quote, I don't know if he used it as a clue as much as like to kind of find out like a little breadcrumb, not a breadcrumb, just like a little niblet of information on the guy, like he's piecing these little pieces of information together. But
it all leads back to the library card.
Yeah.
I think one of my other favorite parts of the movie too, sorry to go back to like the first time they're in the apartment, is like the initial chemistry between Brad Pitt and Somerset. Like it's really contentious, and Brad Pitt like is really kind of showing, he seems really young there. Like Stevie, you mentioned that he's such a baby here, and like he seems really, his character seems really immature. Yeah.
Very.
Yeah, I actually have in my notes like Somerset and Mills are put on a case together. I mean, they just met, and you could tell how different they are like right away, and they're contentious for sure.
Did Pappy say immature?
A little bit. He throws a couple temper tantrums a couple times.
Yeah, it's kind of his thing.
And plus,
he's a full-blown dickhead, right?
His dialogue is kind of shoddy throughout the movie.
I think he's more of a hothead, personally. But
I think he wants to prove himself.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm-hmm. And Somerset is like, I'm done with this city. He's just trying to collect his paycheck till the end of the week. He's trying to get out. And I think he's also like kind of half protecting Brad Pitt's character here because he knows this city is so messed up. Also, it's like an unnamed city, so in my head I imagine it's like Gotham or something.
Metropolis.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
But yeah, he's just like so sick of this city. I think he is kind of like half protecting Mills, and also like Mills has no idea what to expect.
Yeah, he's like naive and really green because he came from the suburbs. Like Mikey said, I actually watched a little video about how this movie is really ambiguous. A lot of parts are, and then one of the main things they did was, like Mikey said, they never established a city, and he did that on purpose. I saw someone make a joke that said it was like Lost New Angel York. So it's kind of like, I was thinking New York, and then like towards the end, it's like straight LA, or at least California. So
because they're in the desert, yeah.
And
well,
one of the
Gwyneth
reasons
Paltrow has a line where she says, "When we lived upstate, it was
Upstate.
like this."
Mm-hmm.
So that made me think New York.
right. I mean,
That's what
but,
I thought,
like
too.
upstate California is way different too than. But yeah,
That's
no,
true.
for sure.
That's-
I was thinking.
But that's the brilliance of making a choice like that. Is like this,
Right.
this movie is set in like real world light. You know what I mean? Like it's the real world, but like it's so dark and like almost over the top in
Right.
spots that it couldn't be a real city. That would almost take you out of the movie.
Right, no, Gotham's perfect. And I was going to finish off they didn't want, purposely, they thought they didn't want to use LA or Chicago or New York, places where there are a lot of crime, because these cities actually have good things about them. This city is supposed to be
It
portrayed
is
as-
Gotham.
Yeah, nothing good in this city. It's bleak, it's dark, there's crime everywhere.
It's Sodom
so
and
I think it was
Gomorrah.
just such a really good, Sodom and Gomorrah, yeah, that's fine.
So it's Gotham.
Yes, I think we all are good with the Gotham.
So you're confirming.
So
just
Kevin
wanna
Spacey
confirm.
turned himself in just like Heath Ledger in The Dark Knight. Is what
Why
you're
didn't
telling
they
me.
use the bat symbol?
True. That signal.
Sorry.
Just a real quick interlude here. In between these first two cases, they had this really weird, kind of cool scene with, R. Lee Ermey, who's just a classic. He's classic
Two
in
Movie
playing what he
Club.
plays. Is it two? Full Metal Jacket and what else? This? Nothing
This.
else? Okay.
Correct.
Yeah. Somerset asked to be taken off the case, but he's denied, and then Mill asked to have the case, and he gets taken off. And they kind of go their separate ways, which leads us to Greed. Mikey, do you want to hop in on getting us started on Greed?
Yeah, Mills gets thrown off of that case, like you said, but then he unexpectedly gets handed a connecting case, which he doesn't know yet. And it's in a lawyer's office. There's this guy that was murdered, and he ended up having to carve off a pound of flesh.
What is that noise?
Off of his own body.
I'm with you. What is going on? Okay, sorry, Mikey. Go ahead.
And
Jesus.
And he's just putting it on weights against, I don't know, just a pound of something. So that was kind of like Kevin Spacey's character's sick analogy for greed or something with this lawyer. And he, I don't know, just writes greed in blood on the floor. And when when Mills gets there, he's kind of just left dumbfounded because he's looking for clues, and he's like standing right in the middle of the crime scene. And he doesn't know that it's connected yet, because at this point we hadn't seen
Greed, yeah.
Yeah, we hadn't seen Somerset pick up that note yet. I think that was like after this scene, so they don't know that these two crimes are connected at this point.
Yeah, just a little bit of history here. The pound of flesh, that's what you were referring to. That is that's from William Shakespeare's The Merchant of Venice.
Never saw it.
Well, yeah.
What year was that? What was the box office?
1590 or something?
It's an 80s movie.
It's what a Jewish loan shark demands from someone for a loan that he gave him, and the guy can't pay his loan, and I don't know what happens after that, but that was the first time pound of flesh was used.
Isn't that what Get Shorty's based off of?
I don't know. I watched like 30 minutes of that 20 years ago and stopped. So
Gotcha. Continue.
I heard it. I mean, I always wanted to go back and watch it, but because I thought Be Cool was pretty good. Does anybody have anything they want to add to Greed? I mean, we haven't quite gotten to the...
What was the rule? No bones were allowed?
No bones,
Yeah, no bones.
no cartilage. And so Mills was like, the only place that could be is like your love handle. So he like chopped off his side there.
Right, where all the fat is. Yeah, because you if you want to like live, I guess you can cut off fingers and those weigh more. But guessing he wanted you to die, because I guess if you take a pound of your flesh off, you're probably going to die. But the goal was for him to die, even if he made him think that. It says 1 pound of flesh, no more, no less, no.
You gotta go
cartilage,
ass
no
cheek.
bone, only flesh.
Ooh.
That's a pretty good one.
Booty cheek would have been the way to go.
So Mills is pretty lost, like Mikey says. He's kind of standing in the middle. He's not as good at this as.
Brett, are you confused as to like Morgan Freeman and Brad Pitt's like relationship on the case at this point in the movie?
Well, they've just gone. They're
not partners anymore.
They're on 2 different cases, but they find out that they're related because, as Mikey said, after this.
Is this when they start sharing like an office?
Well, that's coming up soon. Like Mikey said, or what Pappy said, Somerset goes back to that house, finds the gluttony, and then he's completely uninterested in the greed case until he finds out about greed. Then that's when he goes to the library. He gets all those books. He makes a list of books for Brad Pitt to check out, and he leaves it to him, and then they're in their office. And then that's when the catalyst for how their partnership goes, actually get called by Mills's wife, Tracy, and she invites Somerset to dinner.
Why is William a good name?
In every movie. Pirates of the Caribbean, oh, that's a good, strong name. This movie, oh, that's a good name. I don't understand.
I don't know.
Is it a biblical name?
No.
I don't know.
No, it's like an older English name, I'd imagine, but maybe it's come from German. I don't know, Wilhelm. But so they go have dinner, and they become more and more friendly to each other, and then all of a sudden they're sitting there working on the case, and they get the idea to go to the widow's house of the lawyer. They ask her if she remembered anything in these pictures, and she's completely distraught. She can't be bothered. But then she's like,
look at these pictures of your dead husband, ma'am.
And I love the post-it notes like covering it. It's pretty good thinking, I guess, but
yeah.
Do you see anything out of the ordinary other than the blood and guts on the floor?
Yeah, exactly.
Look at your dead husband, and then look for a painting you bought a long time ago.
Right, but yeah, as Stevie said, there she notices the painting is upside down. So then they go to the office, and that's where this kind of leads us into. Do you want to take the end of this in the office and kind of take us into Sloth, Stevie? Okay. So Sloth's kind of a long one. It's kind of a slower play, so.
Okay, so if I remember this correctly, because this movie always boggles my mind because you're juggling 1,000 different murders.
Mm-hmm,
but
for sure.
When
7.
I'm just saying, it's a lot to keep track of. Lots of ins, lots of outs.
Round up.
Very true. Very true.
But when they remove the painting, 7. They're looking to like open the back of it. Are there notes? Is there other shit written on the wall somewhere? And that's when Somerset... Okay, can you admit that Somerset is just Virgil Tibbs before he retires?
I think he's better than Virgil Tibbs, but...
Tibbs come on. Being a polymath like that, that's Virgil Tibbs.
Well, you're talking about from the show, right? I've never seen it. I know you love the show. I've never seen the show.
I'm talking about from the movie.
We're talking about, of course, In the Heat of the Night.
Yes.
Yes, sorry.
For the listeners at home who don't know.
They call me Mr. Tibbs.
Thank you, Pap. I don't know what they're talking about.
Long story short, he was an African-American detective who was a genius in all sorts of different areas and expertise.
In the heat of the
That's Somerset to a T. But
great song, too.
That might be an edit point.
Nope.
What?
I mean, to infer that like there can only be one genius black detective in all of cinema.
The edit point is the fucking papers you were rustling around 5 minutes ago.
Yeah,
Josh.
seriously.
I'll edit this episode. I was trying to get something.
Good point
I'm sorry.
Stevie just made.
I'm not. No, Josh, I don't imply that I'm racist. I'm just saying, if you're gonna make a detective like that,
let's move on. Stevie, you were on a roll.
Jesus.
He's finding clues.
Finds fingerprints. That's when they take the fingerprints back to the lab, and they connect it to a pederast like Kevin Spacey. And,
alleged.
He is. And that's when they, go to that dude's apartment, and that's where the beginning of Sloth is, where they're starving this. He starved a guy for what, a year?
Yeah, to the day. That's like, oh man, that's just so creepy.
I hate watching that scene. It's gross.
Yeah, it's like one of the. It's just a great jump scare because you like don't expect it. You have like no reason to think that like Dr. Cox is in his face and he's like, "You got what you deserved," and the guy like coughs or whatever.
Even the doctor's like he's about to go to hell after he dies.
Yeah,
it's like Jesus.
Had that in my notes too.
Yeah, so.
Well, wait, I want to go back, because, Brett, you said a year to the day, and that always bothered me, because I felt like there was no way that Kevin Spacey could have possibly known that, even if he is as smart as he is. But on this rewatch, Brad Pitt says, there's, like, Morgan Freeman says a year to the day, and Brad Pitt says there's no way we can know that's true, and Morgan Freeman just dismisses him and, like, moves on to the next topic. So I actually think that one kind of throwaway line by Mills, like, kind of saves that whole plot point. Like, maybe it wasn't a year to the day, but he had 365 photos, like, to trick them or something.
No, he said it's a year to the day. He wanted us, he did that on purpose, and Brad Pitt goes, "You can't know that," and he goes, "He did," or something like that. But I didn't mean to, like,
I think
take away
Mills has a good point there, is what I'm saying. Like, Morgan Freeman doesn't have a counter to, we don't know that's true.
Right,
he doesn't have any evidence that it's true. Yeah, but
I'm glad you bring that up though, Pat, because that was like, is this guy have superpowers or something? I think that's kind of what you're thinking at this point. Because how could he be so smart that they would figure out things behind the painting and like the fridge and all that stuff in like that exact amount of time?
Yeah, that's a stretch, like for him to, because the clue he left in a really hard place, and you would take someone really smart to know, and he didn't know who was doing the case at the time. So it's a huge leap of faith to hope that someone super smart like Tibbs is solving the case that quickly. Probably only Tibbs and Somerset could solve that case.
That said, though, I love those two parts of the movie I just mentioned. When they're like finding those clues hidden, I think that's awesome cinema.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
For sure. Just as a quick side note, I believe the fingerprint tech who's like, guys, this could take as long as 3 days. I believe that's actually Morgan Freeman's son. He's also an actor. But yeah, Stevie kind of skipped over some of the
edit point. Every black guy is Morgan Freeman's son all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Jeez. Okay, well,
nepotism
we just lost
in Hollywood.
Yeah. But yeah, Stevie kind of like, oh my gosh.
Someone just flip a desk?
I don't know what's going on at Josh's house. We good? Hello?
Josh, you dead?
No, keep it moving. Let's go.
We all thought you took a spill.
Pappy, I will edit this episode. I'm so sorry.
You will.
Okay. So Stevie skipped over some of the more grody parts. Like, he like cut this guy's hands off and then sewed him back on. He hooked him up to like an IV and only gave him enough nutrients to live. But basically, like what the doctor says, it's like the worst suffering anyone's ever suffered that he's seen. And like Pappy said, he says, and he still has hell to look forward to. So
Doctor diagnosed him with a mushy brain.
Yeah, mushy brain. He made a point that said something like, what if you flashed a flashlight in his eye, he would die?
Yeah, die of shock.
Die of shock. So
he's disgusting. He's got like bed sores all over him. It's really pretty grotesque.
Brett, of the 7 deadly sins, which is the one you'd least want to have to do?
Like have it happen to me?
Yeah. Yep, well, you got to pick one of these.
I'm not a woman, but I think the lust one would be pretty bad.
Yeah.
That's probably up there. But I think sloth would probably be the worst because it's a year of suffering. It's terrible, yeah.
Agreed, yeah.
But they're all bad. I mean, like the 5 that we actually see, Pride's probably the least bad, but we'll get to that one.
You could listen to the whole Spoilers catalog twice if you just laid in bed for a year. That wouldn't be so bad.
Yeah, but you have to listen to the early episodes and you'd really suffer.
What a way to go.
The early ones would be hell.
Yeah, it would be hell for sure. Another side, I don't remember when this happened, but it's kind of important. Tracy calls Somerset William, and they meet, and she tells William that she's pregnant.
Inappropriate.
With his baby.
HR.
With Morgan Freeman's voice.
But like she makes it, it's not really inappropriate. She makes a point to tell us why she doesn't know anybody here and she hates the city. Sadly, he's like the only one she can talk to. So she tells him that, and he tells him a story about how he had an abortion, and he has no doubt he made the right decision, but he wishes every day that he would have made a different decision, which I think is kind of a cool little roundabout way of saying whatever he said. But so I just wanted to get to that, and I don't know if there's.
I have a question for you guys. Go ahead, Pat.
I was just gonna say, I just don't want to. I don't want to breeze over that because like Somerset's, what's her name, Tracy or whatever.
Tracy?
Yeah,
Teresa.
What his relationship to her is like, kind of the whole key to his character arc. You know what I mean? That's what makes this movie like really over the edge great to me. Is like, you know, in the end, he's talking about like how humanity is worth fighting for. Like, he's ready to retire, he's ready to quit, and like the scene at dinner, and then this kind of like her scene of like confessing that, and when he's like, you spoil that kid, and she like starts to cry a little bit, like, God damn, man, that's some good shit right there.
Yeah, really good.
That's
for
good
sure.
movieing. Yeah.
But if you choose to have this baby, you spoil that kid every chance you get. That's about all the advice I can give you, Tracy.
Good movieing.
Something we skipped over a little part. Victor, who's the sloth guy, he did some really bad things, and the lawyer from Greed got him off. I don't remember how, technicality or insanity or something. So that's how that was related. I don't know if we said that or not, but
well, I had something, Brett.
Off.
Before that same scene with Gwyneth Paltrow and Morgan Freeman, like, I don't know if you guys can separate yourselves from a time where you didn't know the ending of this movie, but is there any part of you that thinks this part of the movie was supposed to be like a setup to Morgan Freeman being like the bad guy or something like that?
I've never gotten that feeling.
Are you supposed to be thinking that it's maybe one of the detectives during the movie? I don't know. That's just something I
think you're supposed to think it's Victor and that he had got away. Like, they're going to go storm his apartment, but he had already got away. Which I think is what makes the huge scare of him coming back to life and like even better. But I didn't get that from that, Josh. But I mean, that's definitely a.
Well, it reminds me a lot
way.
of like True Detective and like Silence of the Lambs, where like the actual killer is just kind of like some other guy. You know what I mean? Like, there's no twist like the butler did it. The killer's just kind of out there, but the story's about the people trying to find him. He's not established.
Yeah, I saw that. Someone said it's not about like the crime and murders. It's about the people like in the storyline. And yeah.
It's about the friends we made along the way.
I think I've just been watching too much Shyamalan Bam lately.
What's the twist? It's a Big Dumb Movie reference.
Fuck you, you little dipshit.
There's a pretty important interlude before we get to the next deadly sin. Pappy, why don't you go and tell us how they get led to John Doe's apartment?
Right. So apparently, I don't know if we talked about the scene originally with Morgan Freeman in the library, but that's a really cool scene too, because he goes into the library and all the guards are like playing poker. It's just like a kind of like another sign of like how bleak and gross like this whole world is. Not that poker's bad, but it's just like, of course they're doing something like that. But
by the way, that library is actually the bank that was used in The Mask.
Oh, that's always fun.
But go ahead, sorry.
That's my next pick then, if I win. But
I like that movie.
Yeah, so that kind of sets up the whole library thing. But Morgan Freeman has connections to the FBI, where if you pay him like, I don't know, $50 or something, I don't know how much he paid him, they had 55, that they can run an basically illegal search on all of the books that you've checked out. And then that's just like how 90s this movie is, because it's like
Pre-Patriot Act.
Pre-Patriot Act, for sure.
It's supposed to be still like scandalous, but now it's like living in 2019. It's like, oh, that's the most benign thing ever. Like, I'm sure.
Of course, they know what I'm reading at the library.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they're able to find John Doe's search history of like Canterbury Tales and Dante's Inferno and all this other stuff that he was referencing. St. Thomas Aquinas, as Brad Pitt says.
Yeah, he's not very educated in this movie. So yeah, they get to John Doe's apartment. I believe they're just gonna ask him about the books. Like, they're not gonna like put the screws to him or anything. They're just gonna like kind of get a lay of what he's like. And nobody answers. I just think this shot is super cool. Like the long hallway view. Someone comes around the corner and Somerset's like, David. And then they point to him. And then he takes a couple steps forward and then shoots. And then this humongous chase ensues. And you get like a really good view of like verbal Kent running. Did anybody not see that like exactly? But yeah, so they're kind of going through this hotel. Like the way they filmed it, it kind of made it seem like Morgan Freeman was going to take a shortcut and get to where he needs to go, but he's basically just an old man. And he just nothing ever comes from him running. He just kind of like, crap, I got to get there.
He just looks down the stairs, afraid. Like, oh
yeah. Ugh. He's like, is there another
I'm
exit?
too old
and then
for
he
this
goes
shit.
there, and like he never shows up. But so,
do you think it was too long of a chase scene, Brett?
Maybe a little bit. Like I saw someone say it's really hard to tell where people were. It's just
it uses a lot of tropes.
Crazy.
They're running across rooftops of cars. They're going up and down fire escapes, catwalks, landing in a trash garbage bins or whatever. There's a lot of chase tropes in this scene.
So then it leads to he finally goes into this alley and he like looks up and John Doe whacks him in the face or whatever with a crowbar or pipe or whatever, and he puts a gun to his head. And then I don't remember if he hears Somerset or if he just like, I'm not going to kill him. It kind of like audibles to get to where we go later. But I don't know if you guys have seen the little known, or like Brad Pitt like hurt himself really bad during the first take of that.
Was this pre or post photographer in the stairway?
Post. That was during Sloth.
Okay.
Because remember when they go in the apartment, they see the pictures of him.
Right.
But yeah,
I know how to spell.
Brad Pitt cut
that
himself
scene.
really bad during
Brad
this
Pitt
scene.
doxes himself in Sloth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how
true.
Kevin Spacey finds him.
We had him. But yeah, so I guess if you want to just read about that Brad Pitt thing, it's fine.
That's a really good point, Mikey, because that's like he was all wrathful.
Well, I think that's why he doesn't kill him here with the gun and the tire iron or whatever, is because he recognizes him first. He's the guy from Sloth, from the Sloth killing, and then I think he kind of like audibles on his last couple murders and realizes
because they have his place. He can't go back there and do what he was going to do. So
he can't go get all those creepy instruments and stuff. Ugh.
Yeah.
He audibles on his last couple murders here, and then switches Brad Pitt's character to like the focus of his like last couple 7 deadly sins kills or whatever.
For sure, and then they go back to John Doe's apartment, and this is where you see how different Somerset and Mills are. Mills wants to go in the place, and Somerset's like, don't do it. If you go in that apartment, you can kiss a conviction goodbye. And being the hothead he is, he kicks the door open, and Somerset's like, you're such an idiot. So that's illegal. Then he goes and does something even more illegal, and he pays a homeless person to say that he saw John Doe creeping around so they can get a search warrant. So, and then they go, Stevie, do you want to like maybe describe kind of stuff we see in this apartment?
In John Doe's apartment?
Yeah.
I mean, at least...
Yeah.
I mean, countless notebooks of his psychotic writing, which is oddly neat as well. And then, what was in the jar? There was something floating in a jar. Was that a hand?
Yeah, it was a
What's
hand
in the
from...
jar?
What's in the jar?
What's in the jar?
I think it was the guy's hand, but... Yeah, it's serial killer 101 in that apartment, but...
Yeah, it's quite...
Yeah, they see some of the trophies. Actually, those books were like all filled... Like, it took them like 2 months or something like that. Like the stage people or production assistants like wrote all that stuff, and they researched it. Like that's like crazy detail. That's like Wes Anderson detail, who like every time they show a newspaper in Grand Budapest, he wrote all of those articles. But
it costs like $15,000 to do all that. It's so over the top.
For sure.
That's not a good use of money.
But honestly,
like
anytime I watch this movie, I always think about this scene because of how crazy his apartment is. It's like burned into my mind how detailed and how over the top they went with like to make it look so grimy. Like
his bed was
Fincher,
so scary.
Mikey,
too.
you got to come out and visit me in Colorado sometime, dude.
Yeah, I'm sure you got a freaking pep den too. But Fincher is like so good at finding these places that look like you could smell how damp and like rotting the place is inside.
For sure.
So I'm always like, whenever I see this, his apartment is always like burned into my head. So I think it's awesome.
But don't you guys love seeing that extra effort? Somebody was kind of poo-pooing it. Was it you, Pappy?
Pappy, he said it was a bad investment, pretty much. I think it's cool, but yeah, I mean,
I'm sure they sold each one of those books for like $5,000 a piece. That probably worked out pretty well. But it doesn't make much sense to me to have a bunch of unread, scribbled books. But
yeah, for sure.
Like, does it impact your rating on this movie at all, Brett, knowing that those books were filled or not?
No, for sure. No, definitely not.
No, I honestly think it's way more likely that I'm right, that they sold them as like merchandise or souvenirs or something and probably made a profit off of it, like used in the movie Seven, but it was like just sitting up there on the shelf or something.
Well, they didn't do the writing so that it would become a headline. They did it so that they had more options in the editing and that like the film looked more authentic. I think that's something that's kind of cool instead of someone like James Cameron that's made a living of just like trying to get the cheapest for the dollar like at every turn. Like I'd much rather see this type of filmmaking.
It's a small it's not bad. It just doesn't affect my rating, as Stevie said, in any way.
No, definitely not. For sure. I get that. So there is they find a clue, raging clue. They find it in, I got a clue over here. They find a receipt or something from a leather store. So they follow that to a leather store, and the guy's like, I make custom things for people, and he shows them a picture of what he made. I don't remember, do they show the picture at this time? Or
No.
Or they're just like, my God, you made that for him? He's like, I've made worse than that. Yeah, so that leads us to...
What's worse than that? What could be worse than
No,
that?
I know. Let's see. Who do I want to give lust to? Who wants it? Who wants to take it?
Ironic questions for the lust category.
Right, for sure. Josh, why don't you take lust?
I hate you, Brett.
Does somebody else want to take it?
What a perfect cat. No, go.
This is one of the top 5 most scarring killings from this movie.
It's awful. It's so I can't. I don't even like thinking about it.
I think the actor they take, Morgan Freeman, is like interviewing this guy who had just done this horrible deed, and he's like shaking. I love that guy, but anyway, what that guy had to do was he went to a establishment and like bought a prostitute, and Kevin Spacey snuck in there, and his usual MO kind of takes over the situation with like a gun, and he makes the dude have sex with the prostitute with like a knife condom.
Like a dildo, yeah, like a strap-on.
Ugh.
Yeah, it's like awful. And Josh alluded to the guy, like I guess he did a bunch of weird breathing things so he could be hyperventilating, and he didn't sleep for like 3 days.
What?
Which is because he wanted to make himself
awesome.
seem as crazy as he was, which it comes off insane how like realistic that is. I mean, he's scarred forever. I mean, he's never going to get over that PTSD. It's just crazy.
Well, that scene that you're talking about too, it's so well framed because you can it takes a step back and it's got the two different windows, and Morgan Freeman's interviewing the worker at the prostitute house, and he's like, "Oh, this is just another Tuesday in the office," like not even fazed by what's happening at all.
But yeah, it's another example of just Josh. No, I didn't mean the actor. I meant like the character in the movie. It's just another example, like a subtlety. It doesn't show. It doesn't need to show you. It doesn't need to hit you over the head with it. Like, you get it. It's implied, and you get to hear it secondhand, firsthand, whatever, from the guy who's wrapped in a blanket.
And there's no official rape scene in this movie.
Nope, just implied.
Mm-hmm. Congrats, fellas.
You're right.
You did it.
Unite.
Stevie.
Let's jump and high five and have the camera like
no rape or spoilers episode. Well done.
Okay, so
family-friendly episode. Finally,
yes. Your kids
one for the kids to listen to.
Not explicit rating.
Josh, let us know how your kids handle this episode, and we'll decide if we want to market it to younger kids. Please do that for us.
Will do.
Okay. All right, so we get to. Do we get? Yeah, I actually made a comment to Brittany. I'm like, man, they have a lot more stuff to get to before this movie ends, and it actually all happens pretty rapid fire. They go pretty much right into Pride. Mikey, do you want to take Pride real quick? It's really quick. It's like 3 to 5 minutes, and it's kind of over.
Yeah, so they just find this model, and the phrase, cut your nose off to spite your face, is pretty much taken literally here, and John Doe cuts her nose off. And I guess as she's bleeding out, he's like super glued a phone in one of her hands, and I guess just pills in the other hand, and she can either just drift away under the pills, or she can try and save herself, but she'll be disfigured permanently if she calls 911. So I think she just ends up dying. I think she is so prideful in her looks that she just chooses to die.
Yep, that's pretty much it. I mean, that's the one that's the most like Saw-ish of the bunch. Like, she actually gets a choice. The rest of them
does she want to play a game? What about the pound of flesh guy? Is kind of like that, right?
Yeah, but that guy's gonna die. Like, I don't think he would have let him go. I think he actually would have let this woman, because it was just part of the thing. It's like, this is your chance, but he knew that she wouldn't take it because of who she was. So, I mean, I don't know. Do you think that she had a lot more of a chance than the greed guy? I mean, I do, but maybe not.
I mean, I think he knows who he's choosing. I think he knows that this woman is so vain that she's not gonna try to save herself.
Yeah.
Even if she can. So I think he knows what he's.
I do too.
He's smarter.
She actually has the skeleton of a choice, at least. I mean, we all know, and he knew that she was gonna kill herself because she was famous and she was known for being pretty, and so.
I mean, it's the 90s though, right?
90s, yeah.
Couldn't they just given her a new nose? I mean, couldn't she have just gotten a new nose? That's assuming that nose he cut off was her actual nose.
Well, Andy sliced her all up. I think the bigger thing is, like, this is pre-internet, so what was she going to do all alone inside all day?
He did do more than just cut off her nose. He sliced up her whole face, I'm pretty sure.
But either way, Stevie, can you, like, rebuild a nose? Like, with nose surgeries, you, like, cut around and shape the cartilage and stuff, but...
Kylie Jenner
you have to sew it on.
Kylie Jenner is proof you can build a new nose from nothing.
You want a nose, dude? I can get you a nose.
I know a nose guy, all right?
I can get you a nose with nail polish.
All right. So, they go from this thing, and they're just, like, completely helpless. Like, how are we going to find this guy? And Pap, they walk into the police precinct, and they're talking about what their next move is going to be, and what happens.
I actually do remember the first time I saw this. before I knew the ending. And the first time I saw this was actually at your house, Josh, but with your younger brother, who's not on the podcast.
Jared?
Yeah, brother Jared.
I watched this knowing Kevin Spacey was very famous to me at the time, and to see him walk through the doors in the final act was pretty mind-blowing because I didn't recognize him at all by voice. But I guess at the time he wasn't that famous, so it wouldn't have been as big of a reveal. But still, either way, even if you're viewing it now with like the Me Too lens, it's still pretty freaking crazy that the serial killer then turns himself in. Like, there's no way you could see that coming. Detective!
I forgot about that too because I was like, who is this guy just screaming in the middle of the lobby? It's like, I don't remember this part at all. And then to see him just covered in blood, it's like, how did nobody see him at all? And he just walks into this precinct screaming bloody murder. But yeah, I guess I kind of forgot that he just shows up.
Yeah, so he comes in there, his fingers are all cut up. And this is like one of those really good examples of they wanted you to be shocked. He didn't have anything to do with the pre-movie marketing. He was not listed in the credits, the opening credits at all, besides hearing his voice. And I guess, does anybody know if that's actually Kevin Spacey as the photographer, or is that like...
Yes.
That's him.
Okay. I meant to go back and look, but I didn't. So, cool. Okay, well, that's even cooler.
I was looking for it when I was watching this time. It did not sound like him. Like, he does a really good job. I don't know.
He sounds like a newsie.
Boy, me last pay.
Yeah, what's the big idea?
You'll see.
I mean, I will get more into it later, but I made the comment to a couple people. I think from the moment he walks into the police precinct, this movie is like, the last 20, 30 minutes of this movie is like an absolute masterpiece. I think everything about the next 30 minutes is insane. So they're like talking to the lawyer, who's my guy from West Wing. He's saying that he's got 2 more bodies he wants to show you, and he wants you two to go with him. And if you go with him, he'll plead guilty and he'll confess and everything like that. And if you don't go, he'll plead insanity, which is kind of a dumb line because, like, again, that's not a guarantee that he'll get off. And B, even if he does, it's not like he's getting off. He's going to spend the rest of his life in a mental institution. And if you want to see how that turns out, watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, which is also a great movie. But
I'm pretty sure those 2 detectives are the kind of guys who wanted him to face the full extent of the law.
Yeah, the music, as
provided under whatever
for sure.
state they're in.
I agree with that. So,
Pap, though, do you think this plot point would have been better, maybe off screen or like super brief? It's kind of dramatic with like that lawyer on like that big couch, and they try to suss it out maybe a little too much.
Yeah, if there's any flaw, that might be the case. You could have done less is more, because no matter what, at this point, I'm so invested in the film that they could kind of have any kind of like cinema sins bullshit, and I wouldn't notice it at all. Like wherever you want to take me, wherever you want to go, let's fucking go there. I'm along for the ride. So
I'm with you. It's not like it's that long, and you get like one of the second scene in the whole movie that has a little bit of levity in it, where they're shaving their chest and they're putting the wires on. I mean, it's like, so it kind of leads to that, which I appreciate in a movie that's this dour.
Brad Pitt really should have cut off his nipple in that scene. That could have made things a lot better for him.
But yeah, he's like happy.
His pound of flesh.
Everything's happy in his life, he thinks. And okay, then I think that the car ride starts everything for me. I think that conversation is so amazing. Steve, you want to throw some of the... You guys, I guess we can just kind of go around and talk about it if you want. Steve, if you want to get us started on the car ride.
Why was Brad's audio so bad?
He did...
It makes no sense that it was only Brad having to do ADR and Morgan Freeman...
You know why?
What?
It's because he had to come back after... he was doing 12 Monkeys at the same time. He had to come back. Those were all post shots. they had to do it like through the mirror. Like I could show you a video where
I
they
wonder
talk about it.
Like why they messed up so badly then.
It's they ran out of time and they had to do the reshots, and every single actor, like on the later when they're in the desert, all those helicopter shots, not a single one of those people are Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, or Kevin Spacey. They were all gone because all of their
okay, that's fine.
time.
But I'm just talking about like why Brad's audio alone had to be replaced throughout those entire scenes.
Why does it bother you so
bad.
much?
Because I just noticed stuff like that in film. Like I noticed it really badly in Indiana Jones, Raiders of the Lost Ark. Which I know think Brett hates when I say that, but
that's right.
I just noticed stuff like that. I was just curious, like why it was only his audio.
Perfect time for a Stevie question, because I know that stuff too. Do you have any theories on why they did that for him? Did he flub the lines? Were his original lines like too? He already says the bundle of sticks word and the R word.
I noticed some of the dialogue
movie,
and the close-up shots don't match up with his mouth at all. Especially when he's like, I think when he says you'll be another freak show of the week. Like if you watch his mouth, it doesn't like add up at all with what he's saying. So I'm guessing they had to change the dialogue.
Oh, interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Like it was darker, like more hard.
I'm guessing yes.
Wow.
That's kind of what I'm getting at. Because
release the Snyder cut of 7. Come on.
Ooh.
Mikey, do you want to talk us through some of the highlights of this conversation?
It's just a lot of John Doe kind of explaining his thinking here, and that his rationales behind the murders is kind of showing the world how evil people truly can be. And I think he just, like all freaking psycho serial killers, he just wants to be famous. So he's like made a point to tell Mills that not only am I going to be remembered forever, but you are also going to be remembered about this too, so you should be thankful. So that should like be your first clue that something fucked up is about to happen to Mills, because he's made it clear that Mills is also involved in this somehow. He just doesn't know.
Mills is really he's taunting him. You can tell he just hates him. He's making fun of him. He kind of says a quote that I think a lot of people have thought before. It's like, when you're a psycho, do you realize in your head that you're a psycho? I think I gotta think that's crossed a lot of people's minds. It has mine. So, and Kevin Spacey's character has such the whole time he's cool and calm, except for one time he loses it.
Wait a minute, I thought all you did was kill innocent people.
Innocent? Is that supposed to be funny? An obese man? A disgusting man who could barely stand up? A man who, if you saw him on the street, you'd point him out to your friends so that they could join you in mocking him? A man who, if you saw him while you were eating, you wouldn't be able to finish your meal? And after him, I picked the lawyer, and you both must have secretly been thanking me for that one. This is a man who dedicated his life to making money by lying with every breath that he could muster, to keeping murderers and rapists on the streets.
Murderers.
A woman.
Murderers, John, like
yourself.
A woman.
So ugly on the inside that she couldn't bear to go on living if she couldn't be beautiful on the outside. A drug dealer, a drug-dealing pederast, actually.
But yeah, that leads them to... Is any other quotes or anything like that anybody remembers before we get out to the desert?
Why did John Doe say "I know you" to Somerset when they were in when he first got in the precinct?
Because he recognizes him, and
maybe yeah.
It seems like a really off-shot thing. Just like it was like a focus on Kevin Spacey too when he said it. Like I just want to know if there's anything deeper in it.
Well, no, it just it helps support the thing that happens in the final scene where it's his wife's head in the box. Like,
I was wondering if we all know that Somerset has 7 days left until he retires. Do you think Spacey or John Doe is the whole point of the movie is that he is fucking with Morgan Freeman's character? That this is
it's possible they didn't.
He's a legendary detective, and this is his last case, so he's gonna make it the worst thing he's ever encountered.
I like that slant.
Yeah, I like that too. They don't focus on it, but that's cool.
If Kevin Spacey can time a death to be exactly 365 days, I think he could probably do that.
Because in the car ride, Morgan Freeman is like clearly freaked out. He knows that there's still something to come.
My favorite part of riding is in that car ride too, when he's like, "Oh, Mills, I cannot wait for you to see it."
Could the freak be any more vague? I mean, as far as master plans go, John.
I can't wait for you to see. I really can't. It's really going to be something.
Well, you know what? I'm going to be standing right next to you. So when this big thing happens, you be sure and let me know, because I wouldn't want to miss it.
Oh, don't worry. You won't.
Yeah. I was going to talk about it, and he's like, yeah, how would I know? He's like, oh, you'll know.
And I don't think you even catch that till, obviously, the second or third viewing of how creepy he's actually being.
Yeah, for sure. Like, he wants... Yeah, it seems really obvious after the first time you watch it. You're like, man, I mean, why didn't I see this coming? But I don't think the first time I watched it, I expected to happen what happened. So I thought it was masterfully done. But that's basically, like, the highlights of that trip. And then, I don't know, I really like camera shots like this. The shot where it's through all those Transformer things and it looks like they go on forever.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I thought that was really... I don't know if that's...
Why are they out here? This is where
he says he
John
buried
Doe
the
says
other,
there's bodies out here?
Yeah, he said he buried the other two bodies out here or whatever, and I guess they get out and they're with Kevin Spacey. And Pappy, do you want to kind of take us home or take us start to home?
Yeah, I'll at least get started. I mean, so they get out of the police car and they come across... It's a cardboard box, right?
Well, they have to... They see the van in the distance first.
Okay. I don't remember that. Go ahead.
Okay. Does anybody... Josh, you just watched it.
Yeah, so they're checking it out, and Kevin Spacey's like, "It's over here." So they start walking across the desert, and like super long lens is used to like this... I don't know. It's like a FedEx UPS truck in the distance coming up.
Oh yeah.
It's so ominous too, and I think it's just a van, but the way it's shot and like the score or whatever, it's so ominous. You're like, what could possibly be in that van?
It's a Mad Max suicide bomber, man, coming in the desert. Yeah. But yeah, that's what that is. You can take it back, Pap.
Yeah, so it's a delivery guy who's bringing the box. He's just kind of like some stoner delivery guy. He's completely overwhelmed by the situation and the cops who are there.
Hey, man, I'm just getting $500 to deliver this box, man.
Supposed to be exactly at 7. Of course, he's late, but that's all right.
And Brad Pitt's like, arrest him after he gets off this road. He has him like run down the road to the other cops. But yeah, so they have the box. I mean, it's one of the most infamous scenes of the whole movie, one of the most meme scenes of all time, potentially. The what's in the box? But the box is presented to Morgan Freeman.
John Doe has the upper hand.
He opens it. John Doe has the upper hand now.
Yeah, but he doesn't know what he wants to do, and he decides he's just going to open it. So he opens it with a switchblade, and again, I think it's just shot really cool. Like, he opens the first two flaps, and he's staring there, and then he opens the other two flaps, and he like just almost jumps out of the skin. And then this is when everything crescendos. Everything is like the music's going crazy, and he's running over there because he knows he's got to think that John Doe's over there being super creepy,
talking mad
crap
shit.
Talking shit. Yeah.
So he's panicking. He's like sprinting, trying to sprint over there, and at the same time, Stevie, like, we get our sixth sin, and I know a lot of people have a problem with this, but again, I think he was kind of just audibling. But some people have a problem with the next sin we see. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
He was envious of David Mills' life, and he wanted to play husband while David was out and about trying to solve the case. And I'll be honest with you, the first time I saw this movie, I only saw the last 20 minutes. So I had like no like knowledge of the previous movie before. And like, I knew nothing about the movie, and it freaked me out when Kevin Spacey was talking about it then. and like how he methodically murdered Gwyneth Paltrow and cut off her head. And yeah, that dialogue is begging. Yeah, it's freaky to me. I don't, like that stuff is terrifying.
Yeah, it's terrifying. And he said like she begged so much for the life of her and her baby, and then that's when Brad Pitt's like perks up and he's like, "Oh, you didn't know." And again, you still hear Morgan Freeman who's just screaming, "Drop the gun down! Drop the gun! Get away!"
Stay away from me now! Don't come in here. Whatever you hear, stay away. John Doe has the upper hand. Mills!
Put the gun down now.
Walk away.
Yeah, that's pretty much right. He says, I tried to play husband and it didn't work, and I took a souvenir, I took her head.
Her pretty head.
That's when Morgan Freeman gets up there, and then we get to our last sin. Mikey, if you want to talk about like the last 3 minutes of...
God damn it. That part is, looking back now, I mean, the first time you watched it, it's horrifying. But looking back now, watching it, I've seen it so many times. Brad Pitt is kind of a little goofy there with his delivery of some of those lines, but...
Fucking liar! Shut up! That's what he wants. He wants you to shoot him. No!
Yeah, he's pretty angry here. His wife was just murdered. So the last sin here is wrath, and Kevin Spacey, for all of his 7 deadly sins murders to come full circle, is for him to get killed by Mills. And Mills is so angry that he just is the worst cop. He's done everything wrong on this case, and he's ruined it here in the end, and he ends up killing Kevin Spacey and ruining his own life in the process. And what a week to end Morgan Freeman's retirement.
It's like a retirement party the next day with like cake and shit.
Yeah, the cake is going to be so sweet on that last day. But yeah, then after that, after Brad Pitt kills John Doe, you see Detective Mills taken away in a cop car, and Morgan Freeman is just like, take care of him, do whatever you can for him, because he's, I don't know, I think he's expecting him to go insane or something. He's not going to be on the force anymore. I doubt it. So
I mean, if there was ever temporary insanity, that would be it. And I think, given the situation, again, I'm not a lawyer, but I got to think they could plead that down to maybe like second-degree manslaughter or something. So I mean, I know a lot of people think, oh, he's going away the rest of his life. I doubt it, but yeah, again, his life is over. His wife is gone. His career is definitely over, and he might.
All Brad Pitt needs to do is hire John Doe's old lawyer who specializes in insanity law. He's good to go.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But yeah, so and it ends with this is actually, they fought over the ending. Have you guys heard some of the endings they wanted, the studio wanted, and everyone's like, nope. Like Brad Pitt was going to refuse to do the movie if they changed the ending. And the studio wanted some dumb ones, like Brad Pitt's dog's head was in the box.
One was Morgan Freeman killing John Doe, right?
Yeah, one was John Doe killing Brad Pitt, but Morgan Freeman killing John Doe. I mean, they were pretty
like dumb. Out in the desert or what?
I don't know. He just gets the upper hand somehow.
He had the upper hand, Josh.
John Doe's got the upper hand now.
Okay, so that's basically what happened. But like the only thing they allowed was, because even the audiences didn't really like the ending, so they added the Hemingway
I mean, it's not
quote.
A happy ending.
No, it's not. They added the Hemingway quote. Even Fincher didn't want to do that, but it was kind of a compromise, and it was the world is a fine place and worth fighting for. I agree with the second part. So, and that's the last you see, and the credits come in different. They go from bottom to top, which is crazy. But yeah, some sweet 9 Inch Nails is playing. But yeah, it's the end of the movie. So
Fincher and Trent Reznor. Name a more iconic duo.
They've done a lot of movies together.
Like all of them, haven't
really
they?
good.
Doesn't he?
Sincere, yeah. Like I know, like he won an Oscar for Social Network.
I think so.
I believe so.
But yeah, no, that's for sure. And they were both kind of weird together at that time. But does anybody have any final thoughts? Well, I guess your final thought was a thing.
Yeah, one thing that kind of bothers me, I love this movie. I don't want to pick it apart. But, like, David Fincher and the writer, Andrew Walker, I think it's like that scene when Kevin Spacey's like saying, "What I'm doing will be studied and copied." It's kind of like masturbatory of like the filmmaker, I feel like, and if you think it's that, then it's like really morbid what he's doing with the movie, and it's almost like Kevin Spacey's character's like whole mantra is actually like the point of the movie. And I get this to entertain ultimately, but I feel like there's some preachiness to this movie. Like there really is, actually. I don't know.
What do you mean?
I didn't pick up on that, but
like who's being preachy? Like like they're talking through Kevin Spacey when he's saying that, or what do you mean?
Well, I think okay, so this is weird, but I think the abortion thing comes up weirdly a couple times. A little preachy, but yeah, through Kevin Spacey horrible acts and to like get the 7 deadly sins back in the public conscious in like this sort of like gruesome way, even though it is film. It's just a little weird to me.
yeah, I mean, again, I didn't pick up on a lot of that, but that's everyone watches movies differently. So,
Are you in the bathroom, Brett?
is it echoey?
Yeah.
Yeah, you doing ADR?
Pappy, Stevie, Mikey, you guys picking up any of that? Did you?
No, I completely disagree.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess I don't understand what you're saying.
Kevin Spacey is the bad guy. He's a serial killer. Like what? Why is it? What line did he cross that other films haven't crossed?
Well, he wins.
Well,
right?
bad guy wins.
So?
Well, that's what I love about the movie.
Yeah, so?
And the themes of the movie are explicitly stated through Kevin Spacey.
And he wins.
So you're interpreting that as an endorsement of those themes? That's your interpretation of watching?
It could be. For a budding serial killer.
No, a fucking idiot would interpret it that way.
Don't you love Jafar?
Who wants to live in a world like this? It's the worst world ever. Of course the bad guy wins. It's the worst world ever. That's the whole fucking point. Like, what?
John Doe did nothing wrong.
What?
John Doe did nothing wrong.
I'm a big John Doe and Jafar fan, Pappy. So just get over. No.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I don't know. I think you got. I think you got some a little too idealistic views of this world. I think it's supposed to be bleak.
The only thing I'll say about David Fincher is the intro to this movie is trash.
Oh.
Like, I honestly despise the over-credit music playing intro to this movie. I think it's
IFC doesn't. They said it's the third best movie beginning ever. So
are you talking about like the beginning where he goes to the murder scene, or just like the black over music playing like credits?
When he's like making tea.
The credit. I think it's the credits.
Yeah, that's trash to me. I think it's super antiquated.
Steve, you're skewing so negative tonight. Why do you hate this movie so much?
I don't hate this movie at all. This movie's a great movie, but it's no fun if it's like, oh, this is great, this is great, this is great. There has to be a little bit of discourse.
This movie's not fun at all, but we can have fun talking about it.
Correct.
I don't like how Pappy is acting like the bad guy winning with like this horrible, putrid goal.
Look,
is like a good message.
You go, listen to me. You go to the biggest city near you or whatever, and go to the nicest art museum there. There'll be some fucking amazing paintings that are some satanic crazy shit. Like some medieval fucking people getting their heads ripped off, fucking people stabbing each other. It's not something I would hang above my bed, but it's a fucking amazing painting, and that's what this movie is. It's not a fun watch. It's not an enjoyable time at the theater with your popcorn and your E.T. and your Spielberg, but it's a fucking masterpiece.
So let's make our let's make our peace and everything with our yes or no's and Pappy.
Wait, I have one more final thought, real quick.
All right, go ahead.
This came out September 22nd, 1995. Also in this debuted at number 1. Also in the theater at number 7 was the Spoilers movie, The Usual Suspects, and also in the theater at number 11, a Spoilers movie, Mortal Kombat.
Yes!
Wow. 3 Spoilers movies in the top 11.
I can tell you I saw one of those in the theater, and it wasn't Usual Suspects, and it wasn't 7.
I saw, yeah.
It was Mortal Kombat.
Yep.
Mortal Kombat.
Loved every second of it.
All right. So, Pat, why don't you go ahead and give us a yes or no?
Yeah, no, I'll keep it short because that guy just went on a pap rant. It's a yes. It's not, like I said, it's not enjoyable for me to watch, but the more I watch this, the more I think it deserves the accolades that it's gotten. It's fucking like top 15 in the IMDb top 250. It's top 100 in the Letterboxd top 250. It's like whatever Brett just said about the IFC. Like, it's adored by dudes on the internet. So maybe a little bit too much, but I do think it's a masterpiece. It's great. Maybe my favorite Fincher. Not a fun watch, but a great film.
Cool. Since we're going reverse, let's go Mikey. I think Mikey's up.
Yeah, I agree with Pap. I really, really like this movie. I like Fincher a lot too. And I think he's really good at finding these locations and these set pieces that are just like so dark and grim and like so visceral that you could almost like kind of feel how disgusting this world is. But it's a really dark story. It's probably one of the darker movies I think I've ever seen, and like Pap said, it's not fun to watch. I was actually kind of pissed that you chose this because it was like such a beautiful day today, and I was like stuck inside watching this horrifying movie. But I can't deny that it's not a really well done movie, and the fact that the bad guy wins in the end, I think there should be more movies where the bad guy wins in the end. So I'm sorry, Josh, I think you're wrong here, but it's a yes for me.
Cool. Think we're on Stevie.
Yeah, this is a great movie, so definite yes. Yeah, it's an awesome movie to watch. It's just really dark and heavy. Not the most enjoyable to watch. This is probably my third favorite Fincher film behind Zodiac and The Social Network. But yeah, it's just a really great movie. So solid, definite yes.
Cool. Josh?
I love the cinematography in this movie. It's pretty unbelievable, actually. I do have a hot take. I think Brad Pitt has a couple brilliant moments, but I think his acting is really outpaced by Morgan Freeman, who's awesome in this movie. Can't say enough praise about him, but to the point about like the bad guy wins and stuff, I don't know if the bad guy winning is really my biggest problem with like the writer and David Fincher. It's more that this movie does go to such a dark place. It's almost like selling its soul to the devil and like paving the way for movies like Saw, etc. That's like so dark that you can't look away. And I don't really like that sort of thought and art form. But it's a huge yes. Well acted, well written. One of the most informative movies probably of my life. Like I said, 5 of these murders scarred me, but honestly, all 7/8 if you count the babe in Gwyneth Paltrow's stomach. So, really good movie. Incredible movie. Incredible film.
I was really worried that you were gonna say no because it was torture porn. But
I did that for Bone Tomahawk.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought about that a lot this week.
This movie is like disgusting, but there's not like, it doesn't show.
Like, that's what I said.
It shows like,
it doesn't show a cock piece with a blade on it or anything.
Right, and she's like, "Well, Bone Tomahawk actually showed all that stuff." I was like, "Yeah, that's the difference is 7 lets you use your imagination. Bone Tomahawk, there's no imagination needed for any of
7,
that
the bad guy wins. Bone Tomahawk, the troglodytes die. That's
Bone Tomahawk has like one scene like that though, and Seven has literally 8 scenes like that.
Yeah.
And to Brett's point, though, letting your imagination take it is sometimes worse.
But better filmmaking.
Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I mean, it's
definitely a better
sometimes
film.
it's worse as in it's more horrifying.
Yeah, this is like a definite yes to me. I agree with Pappy. He's throwing the word around. I agree. I think this movie is like a masterpiece. It's so brutal to watch.
It's a masterpiece.
I think the last 30, 25, 20 minutes, like, let's go with when he gets in the car with them. But as Pappy said, like, right when he walks into the precinct, it's like your attention's so on him. He's so good. And someone on the thread said today, and I just miss Kevin Spacey. It's just sad. But I think this movie's awesome. And even Brad Pitt, I think, was quoted as saying something like, basically that Kevin Spacey outshined him really bad in the movie. He didn't say it in those terms. But, yeah, I'd say of the three, Brad Pitt was the weaker link. But, you know, he's freaking Brad Pitt. So this movie's a definite yes. I think it's a 5-star movie. And I was thinking about it. Man, I felt so bad. I'm like, I can't believe I picked this movie. It's so mean, and I felt bad about it, but I'm glad we got to talk about it.
So mean to make us all watch that.
No, it's so like Mikey said it perfectly. I mean, it's a nice day. It's like the first day in 900 days that it hasn't rained. I mean, it's just, and it's such a gloomy movie, and I felt bad, but I'm glad we watched it, and I think we're all better for it. But so that's 5 yeses. Okay, I have a decently quick trivia. It shouldn't take more than 5 minutes. The order is... It's not that bad, all right?
No, it's just that I've only hosted, I think, one movie this calendar year.
Wait, if you're looking it up now, I can get the feedback.
It's Stevie, from most recent to least recent. Stevie, Mikey, Pappy, Josh. So, Josh, I hate to break it to you. You're the most recent, right?
No.
No, I haven't. It's like, no.
You did Treasure Planet.
No. It's well, what was the last episode?
I did Nice Guys. Stevie did Treasure Planet.
Raiders.
Mikey did Raiders. You did Aladdin, and Josh did, I don't know, a long time ago.
This is our first episode since Treasure Planet?
That you've been on.
Yeah.
No, but we did Nice Guys, and what was after Nice Guys? Rango. Jordan's not on. So yeah.
Right. So yeah, I think it's what it is. The first part is just kind of.
It was
quick.
back to back Brett. That happened.
Yeah, that's I've done it. I've done it before. Me and Stevie are the kings of that, but
that's not.
You already
true.
knew that.
Nope.
So.
Edit point.
There's not going to be much of a advantage in the first round unless you make it to the end. So I apologize, Josh. Would you like to go?
What?
Would you like to go first or last? They are 5 questions each. It's just 50-50. There's a 50-50 answer on every one. And whoever's got the most at the end wins. And if there's a tiebreaker, I have a tiebreaker question.
Well, taking a lesson from this movie, you don't want to be the one tortured the longest, so I'll go first. Don't want to be sloth.
Okay. So you said you want to go first?
Yep.
Josh, and then... I don't know how it works. I mean, I guess...
I'm like Lust, the quickest
So,
death.
Pappy, do you want to... Let's just go.
Yeah, that order. Josh, then Pappy, then...
Pat, Mikey, Stevie. Okay, so, Josh, your first question. Remember, these are all just 50-50. Your first question is, according to Dante's Purgatorio, pride is considered the worst of the 7 deadly sins. True or false?
True.
That is correct. Pappy.
Woohoo.
Gone Girl has a higher Metascore than the girl with the dragon tattoo. True or false?
True.
That's correct.
True.
Mikey. When it comes to worldwide gross, Troy is Brad Pitt's biggest box office movie. True or false?
That's gotta be false.
That's correct. It's World War Z. Good job. Ooh. Stevie.
What's up?
These are all related to this movie in some way. Some are funnier or less. Okay, like this one. Viva La Vida is Coldplay's highest-rated album according to Metacritic. True or false?
False.
That's correct. It is A Rush of Blood to the Head.
And I hate Coldplay.
Oh, jeez. And Gwyneth Paltrow?
Shots fired.
Josh.
They're not together anymore.
Who?
It's fine.
Yeah, she's married to somebody else. Who has more Oscar nominations, Morgan Freeman or Brad Pitt?
Morgan.
As incorrect, it is Brad Pitt.
Woo!
He got a lot for producing, and so it's kind of cheap, but hey. Ooh, that's big.
Adios, Josh.
No, he's not done.
Yeah.
Ah, damn it.
Okay, Pappy's up. The Dark Knight Rises is Morgan Freeman's highest-grossing film domestically of all time. True or false?
I'm gonna take the field and say false.
It is false. The Dark Knight is his highest.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Big one. Mikey, Seven was
Driving
nominated
Miss Daisy was a contender
whoa.
there, but sorry.
Seven was nominated for Best Film Editing at the Oscars, but lost to Braveheart. True or false?
It's true.
It is false. It lost to Apollo 13. Okay. Stevie.
What's up?
My man. Brad Pitt was born and raised in Springfield, Missouri. True or false?
Springfield. It's from Missouri. Might be Joplin. I'm gonna say true.
False. He was raised in Springfield, Missouri, but he was born in Oklahoma.
Lame.
Yeah, tricky. Hey, try to trick you. Josh. Kevin Spacey's film Billionaire Boys Club made more money in Iceland than it did in the United States. True or false?
Can you tell me what year that came out?
No, I can't.
Can you use it in a sentence, please?
I'll say true.
That is true. Woo! In Iceland, it made $3,732. In America, it made $1,349.
Is that the Kevin Spacey movie that after it came out for a week, they were like, it made $54, guys?
No, it made, the opening night, it made like $29. Like, I feel bad for the rest of the cast because they're like, yeah, Kevin Spacey, and it's got a bunch of big actors in it. Oh, man. Yeah.
Was that pre or post Scandal?
Oh, post, for sure.
Oh,
Release
jeez.
post, yeah.
Okay, Mikey. Seven made more at the box office.
Wait,
than
did I get skipped? Or was that? Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
Never mind.
it is. Pappy, you're up.
Okay.
Sorry. And I think it's an easy one for you, maybe not. Seven made more at the box office than The Usual Suspects. True or false?
True.
Okay, yeah. That's correct. Seven made $327.3 million, and Usual Suspects made $34.4 million.
Kind of gave that one away.
Yeah, I was hoping he'd stop talking about that earlier, but
sorry,
it didn't work out. Mikey, according to Dante's Purgatorio, sloth carries the least amount of weight on the soul. True or false?
False.
It is false. Lust carries the least amount of weight.
Yeah.
Stevie.
Makes sense.
Kevin Spacey has won at least one Emmy for lead actor for House of Cards. True or false?
True.
False. He was gone 0 for 5 on lead actor and 0 for 5 on producer.
Gotcha.
Oof. I think Stevie's eliminated that rule.
I'm watching The Raid 2 right now, so that's awesome.
Okay, sorry.
No, you're good.
Stevie
Josh.
jumps down Brett's throat for watching stuff when we pod, but
Josh, this is big. You need this. Seven was the 7th highest grossing film worldwide in 1995. That's worldwide, obviously, so true or false?
I don't expect to host till 2020 anyway. I'll say that's true. It's just weird enough to be fucking true. Whatever.
It is true.
Oh yeah!
Okay. I forgot. There's another round. Pappy.
Yes.
It's going quick, though. Adjusted for inflation, Ocean's 11 is Brad Pitt's highest domestic gross at the box office. True or false?
True.
It is true. Pappy, ugh. If Pappy gets the last one, it's over, but there's still a chance for everybody. Mikey. Just randomly.
Didn't you say there's a final round?
Yeah, if there's a tie. Which is a higher number? The net worth of Brad Pitt or the combined net worth of Morgan Freeman, Kevin Spacey, and Gwyneth Paltrow?
Well, I know that Gwyneth has the Goop Corporation fully backed.
It's like
so
it's a
I
lifestyle
imagine she's got
website.
billions. I would say the combo is the bigger number. Goop is too big to fail.
That is correct. Brad Pitt is worth $300 million. Morgan Freeman is worth $200. Kevin Spacey $100, and Gwyneth Paltrow $60.
Big Goop bailout.
So
not bad for Goop.
Nope. And I think Goop's actually worth like $140 million. She just doesn't get all of it. Cool. So, my computer's dying. Crap. All right, we gotta hurry, guys.
Plug it in.
I know, but I had to leave. And nobody wants that. Where I'm at, Stevie.
Oh, Jesus.
Avarice is sometimes used instead of lust when naming the 7 deadly sins. True or false?
False.
That's correct. Do you know what avarice is?
No idea.
It's another word for greed.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah. Josh, this is big. You gotta get it or you're dead.
I know.
Who has a higher career lifetime gross for their movies? Brad Pitt or Morgan Freeman?
Josh Google's intensified.
Let's just
silently
Morgan
pressing
Freeman's in a
MacBook
lot
keys.
of movies.
This computer's dying.
I gotta go. Brad Pitt is just such an A+ celebrity. I'll just say Brad Pitt.
That is incorrect. Morgan Freeman by $2.7 billion.
Hey, maybe in 2020.
Ooh, man.
Okay, my computer's down to 7%. Should we stop while I plug in?
You should be able to make it to 7.
Plenty.
Okay, it just went from 10 to 7 in
What's
about
left?
2 minutes. So
How much? Are there more rounds?
no, we're almost done, but we're gonna finish it out. Pappy, not including the upcoming Shaft film, Richard Roundtree has played John Shaft 6 different times. True or false?
Take false. I'll take the field of numbers other than 6.
False. You're correct. He's played him 4 times.
There are better chances than one number.
Mikey, Fight Club has a higher Metascore than The Curious Case of Benjamin Button. True or false?
I will say false.
False. 66 to 70. And then finally, Stevie, just for pride.
Oh, yeah.
Morgan Freeman, Brad Pitt, and Gwyneth Paltrow have all been married twice. True or false?
Oh, yeah.
In the movie?
I'm going to say false.
It is true. They've all been married twice.
Nice.
Okay, so, Pat, you're the winner.
Yeah.
5 for 5 on the true or false.
Yep.
Mikey did well. Mikey got 4 out of 5. But Pappy put it away at the end, so that's it. Pappy is your winner, and I guess we can kick it to Spoiler Man, and then we're going to come back and have an announcement for Pappy, and Pappy's going to tell us his movie, and I'm going to go plug my computer in while Spoiler Man's going. Be right back.
To wait for him.
Pap's pregnant, and the baby is Morgan
there's
Freeman's.
No. I just got like one iTunes review to read. One clicking.
Good or bad?
5 stars.
Please support this podcast by leaving us an iTunes review.
From April 4th, 2019. Hot off the presses for us to be checking them.
Our email is podcastspoilers@gmail.com. Twitter is @spoilers_pod.
So are we going to go even darker than 7 for the next movie, or are we going to lighten it up a bit?
Movies like 7 will be replicated and studied and made forever and ever.
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying.
Our Instagram is Podcast Spoilers. It's lit.
Do I have to wait for Brett? Like, honestly?
Where is his computer cord? What the hell?
Very strange.
He has to come back to Elkhart to get it. I hope you pick another Kevin Spacey movie. Or another movie that's just a number. That'd be pretty classic, too.
Wait, but just Brett left the call.
Huh?
He didn't make it in time.
Oh, no!
Fellas,
is this recording?
Oh, his whole file could be in jeopardy. That's way bigger than just... Oh.
This is bigger than us.
He should have just... Yeah,
computer died.
Hopefully,
damn it, Brett.
Hopefully your file is okay. ... That's what I'm about to say.
Did he message us?
God damn it! You should have just grabbed the cord.
How far away is a charger from a computer?
He should have just done it as soon as he saw it was dying. There's no reason not to just do it right then. No.
We actually, we really could finish without him, Pap.
Josh, do your best Brett impression and finish it out.
No. I refuse to do that on air.
How can it take so long? No, what is he doing?
He's saving file.
What are you doing?
He's exporting file.
It's probably his best move.
What are you doing? Yes. Why are you not back in the call? We're all fucking just waiting around. You're exporting files. You start again so we can finish the goddamn episode.
You can record while you're exporting.
A new window. I'm sorry, I didn't know you were exporting the file. I thought
your file was gone.
What's in the file, Brett?
A lot of editing in this episode.
If you enjoyed what you heard today, subscribe on SoundCloud or iTunes.
And that was Spoiler Man. So
smooth as butter.
Smooth. We have not had any technical problems. This has been it's just happened right away. Pap, do you want to?
Oh no, there's no announcement.
Movie and then your announcement, or you want to do it the other way around?
You keep saying that. Yeah, we got an iTunes review.
No, you have something to read.
Raw Regaliado on April 4th, 2019. 5 stars. Listen to this, boys. Like a modern day Siskel and Ebert. Great podcast, guys. I absolutely love listening to you guys when I'm bored at work because of the subjects that I find entertaining and have a passion for. Movies. Would love to hear your thoughts on other classic films of mine like Scarface, Saving Private Ryan, Avatar, Schindler's List, Starship Troopers, and all of the Lord of the Rings. Keep up the work, gentlemen. Well, Raoul, I can't speak for the rest of the boys, but I'll say that at least one of those movies I'm pretty sure will spoil.
Not Avatar.
Point. I was thinking Avatar.
Starship Troopers. I love Starship Troopers.
I would love to do all 3 Lord of the Rings, but Mikey can't watch any movies that are over 2.5 hours, so...
No, I was going to pick Schindler's List. That sounded like a fun time.
Oh, God. Please don't.
No. My mom was already really disappointed in me. I talked about this on another podcast, but she listened to a couple of them, and she had some feedback. She really didn't like what I had to say at the end of Too Fast, Too Furious. She thought that was really over the line, and she talked about how she was going into work to work with a bunch of little kids, and how that really kind of threw her off for the rest of the day. So I I told her.
Did she note you're swearing at all?
She doesn't like it, and she talks.
You
to me
dropped
about
100 F-bombs this episode.
Pappy, didn't you have a good cause in that episode, though?
I don't know. She said I sounded like planes, trains, and automobiles, the Steve Martin part. I'm like, yeah.
Andrew James.
I hope it was funny, but she didn't think so. So I told her I'd pick her favorite movie. We might also have a guest from another podcast lined up, but the name of the movie is from the brothers Coen. Oh, brother, where art thou?
Are you in
I've
for?
actually never seen that.
Is this a big, dumb movie? Is that what you're saying, Pappy?
I haven't seen it in a long time.
No, but that was spoilers.
What? Is Brett supposed to say that?
No, I don't know.
Really just threw that out there.
Is that the end?
Fuck you, you little dipshit.
Speaking of Big Dumb, we have a recommend our podcast on Facebook. One of our good buddies. This podcast is great. It inspired me to start my own podcast. I love the blend of comedy and film critique and the different perspectives brought to the table. They seem like cool guys you'd want to have a beer with. Well, thank you, Corey, for those kind words, Kylo.
That's nice. When I think about the podcast that inspired us to start spoilers, it was always, I can do this better than them. And so I hope that's what he was thinking when he started Big Dumb Movie.
Well, watch your back, Big Dumb Movie.
Join us next week for Oh Brother, Where Art Thou? Probably the Coen's sixth best movie, but it's still good. Thank you, everyone. This was Spoilers.
Dress up like ladies and burn them in dirty 380s. Then they come to kill our babies. That's all out. I got cats that blow the wall out. Clear them all out. Fuck the fallout. Word to stretch, I bet they pussy. The 7 digits push me. Fucking real. Here's the deal. I got 100 bricks, 14.5 a piece. Enough to cop 6, buy the house on the beach. Supply the piece with Jeeps, brick a piece, capiche? Everybody getting cream, no one consider them leech. Think about it now, that's damn near 1.5. I kill them all, I'll be set for life. Frank, pay attention, these motherfuckers is henchmen. Renegades, if you die, they still get paid. Extra probably, fuck a robbery. I'm the boss, promise you won't rob them, I promise. But of course, you know I have my fingers crossed.
We're in a tight spot. I saw that in the Dollar Theater the same day I saw Snatch.